Hey guys, gamers, people, it's Mew. I spent very long trying to make this video. So today we're doing Kingdom's characters in Wildward. Uh, I've introduced my characters before, right? I introduced Kingdoms as a story. I don't think I really introduced the characters. So I guess this will also be me introducing the characters, just a little bit, So I've wanted to insert my OCs into existing media for a while. So I guess this is a perfect time to start up this little channel series thing. So unlike with the main inspiration of the series, which was again Jinja Ninja OWO, no one is surprised. This wouldn't be limited to just one set of OCs because I have like 4 stories that I'm currently working on or have been working on in some capacity. But I digress. Let's actually get into it. So, like I said, I will be inserting my OCs for my story Kingdoms, which, by the way, go read it. It's on Wattpad, AO3, and Royal Road, and will also be published physically one day. Don't ask when. Still, kind of at a standstill, but that's another story. Anyway, let's put these Kingdom characters into Wildward. Now, first off, what the heck is Wildward? Wildward is an original adult magical girl series by YouTuber Callimara, and you can watch it on YouTube. It's like a blend of having written parts like a novel or a story, but there's also a visual side of it that's sort of like an animatic, I guess. The story is only just beginning. There's only been like 3 chapters. Chapter 4 is up on AO3, but the visuals for Chapter 4 aren't up yet. I don't know when it'll be up because it takes quite a while for Callimara to do it. Which, yeah, drawing so many drawings takes a fuck ton of time. But anyways, since there's only like 3 chapters up on YouTube so far, I encourage you to watch it or read it now while you can. Like I said, it's on YouTube, but it's also on AO3 if you just want to read the story, if you don't care about the visuals. So, Wildward's whole magical girl gimmick is having 8 pieces of jewelry mimicking animals called the Aegises, and they're inhabited by deity-like animals known as sentinels. When someone gets an Aegis, they can transform into an animal-themed superhero. The animals Wildward has is a songbird, a cat, a snake, hawk, wolf, stag, raven, and tiger. If you were wondering about what animals I have. And having a certain Aegis means having to meet certain criteria. There's no real guidelines, like, design-wise, besides having some kind of animal markings. And, like, outfits are really just tailored to the individual's preferences. Although I think besides the markings, the only other guideline is to have colors derived either from the gem, the jewelry, or the sentinel. I believe. I mean, like just like for example, Ulara or Kirana. Her Ulara is the superhero identity thingy. Like just the jewelry alone, it's like yellow, pink, and green. And, like, she definitely has that, but, like, in her hair, she also has blue, which comes from the actual Sentinel. But, anyway. And yes, if you watch Miraculous Ladybug, it is very obviously inspired by Miraculous. It's, when Callimara was still, like, making this, like, the early stages, Callimara said so herself. But anyways, before I get into, like, the final designs, I actually did some drafts just to test out ideas, mainly because I didn't exactly have a lot of ideas, although I really wanted to do this video. Like, no one voted on this. This is just one I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. That's how I roll with this YouTube channel. I'll do one easy to edit video, something people voted on, and one that's just purely self-indulgent. Anyways, draft designs. First up is Lucifer. Despite the name, he's not the one you usually think of when you're hearing the name Lucifer. In Kingdoms, he's the original Lucifer's son. Second son, to be specific. He's a rebellious, flirty, and despite what his actions may imply, he's got a good heart, even if he doesn't go about it the right way. And yes, he is a demon. Cat Aegis users are associated with the wanderlust, traveling, and looking into the unknown, but also being solitary and unable to stay within one place. Lucifer is not really a solitary person, but everything else fit him, so that's why I chose the Cat Aegis for him. I did consider a few other Aegises I can't remember the names of, as there's actually 2 Cat Aegis users in this pool of OCs, but more on that later. Lucifer is punk, believe it or not, though I've tried to learn more about being punk and the fashion. I won't pretend I know everything. I know punk is, like, really DIY, and, like, a lot of patches, but I didn't really have many ideas for the design to begin with. So, no patches. I could have done it, but I didn't. Spoiler alert, I guess. So, I did a shorter coat, lots of bracelets, as Lucifer loves jewelry, a longer cat pattern shirt, simple jeans, and tall boots. I also relaxed his hair for the sake of his hair being different, because his hair is, like, meant to be, like, styled to the side. If the reference probably flashes up on screen, like the original design, not the Wildward design. And then I also made his sunglasses actually over his eyes and circular, and also blue. Because Lucifer's, like, the ones in his OG design are, like, just on his head. Sometimes they'll actually be used the way they were intended. Oh, and I also thought it'd be cool if the sunglasses obscured his entire eyes for reasons. I don't know. I felt like it. Also, yes, I did both his demon horns and tail and the cat appendages. I regret it now, but oh well, I guess. That's what a draft is for, guys. So next up, Katharina. I hate few of my OCs, but Katharina is one of them that I hate with a burning passion. She's an awful person. She manipulates things to get what she wants, doesn't care when she hurts her quote-unquote loved ones. She barely has those. And everyone else matters fuck all compared to achieving her goals. She also is technically a fairy, though she has mostly human blood. Like, her being a fairy would mean nothing if she didn't have her fairy wing ears. Also, fairies in kingdoms can have, like, ears that are, like, butterfly wings. I just wanted to, like, make a I know, like, fairies are associated with, like, the wings, obviously, but I think sometimes they have pointy ears. But when I think of pointy ears, I mostly associated them with elves, so I wanted to come up with something else that fairies could have that are just for fairies. So I decided that fairies could have butterfly wing ears. So anyways, her aesthetic is definitely femme fatale, and she's also very heavily much. Yep, she's definitely a femme fatale herself. So she has, like, dresses with the slits, jewelry, long opera gloves, the whole deal thing. I was a little nervous that it wouldn't be much of a difference compared to her normal design, but I did come up with something. A short slip dress, heels with garters, the opera gloves. Honestly, this draft is pretty mostly a glorified palette swap and, like, a dress change, but it's still cute and fitting. I still like it. Also, I think in this draft also, I, like, tied her hair back a little bit. It's like a ponytail, kind of, but you barely see it. Again, something I did for the sake of the hair just being different. So, like, there can be some sort of difference. And next up is Arya. Arya is very level-headed, chill, but very excitable when talking about her interests. She loves flowers. She's also a goddess of healing, preservation, and she's also the youngest. She's one of 3 sisters, and they're all triplets. So, snake Aegis wielders are introspective and resilient, striving for betterment and improvement. And they're healers, and usually in fields that guide and protect. So as a healer, obviously, this was an Aegis meant for Arya. Unlike the first 2, Arya's aesthetic is not clear. She definitely loves dresses with, like, long trains, flowers, and bracelets, but it's not anything as clear as, like, goth or any other aesthetic. I probably should have designed her that way, but when I first designed her, my way of designing stuff was completely different. But anyways, I gave her like a snake scale like dress. She has green and pink jewelry, snake-like shoes around her legs, and I also did a fun dye pattern in her hair. Again, for the sake of changing the hair, I put it up in a high ponytail, which looks so cute. Like, Arya and her sisters all have their hair down, but I think they could definitely do more with their hair if they wanted to, or if I felt like making them do, I guess. Okay, next up, Milena. Milena is Katharina's best friend, and she works for Katharina. She does, like, a bunch of odd jobs, like, she'll hire people, do, like, investigation, just whatever. Katharina's like, hey, I don't know who else to ask. Can you go do this thing? And Milena will be like, yeah. So Milena is a demigoddess with dead parents. Her mother was a goddess that could do magic. She created this relic called the Golden Knife, which lets immortals be killed, because in this universe, immortals are alive unless they're killed with a golden knife, pretty much. And her father is immortal, who is from some older version of Czechia. Czechoslovakia is not existent anymore, right, guys? Anyway, Milena uses the fact that she knows how to create the golden knife, since she learned from her mother, to her advantage. Milena herself is, like, easily annoyed, but mostly level-headed. She needs lots of plans to function, but if interrupted or something, she's not aggressive about it like anything. That makes more sense when you learn about Takahiro, but more on that later. Like Arya, she's also a wielder of the snake Aegis. Also like Arya, her aesthetic isn't defined, just that she likes corsets and flared leggings, so I did just that. I also put her hair up in a high ponytail, rather than the normal low ponytail she has. And also I just put a bow. The bow seemed super cute. Yeah. Next up is Arista. Arista is Arya's sister, older sister to Arya, and the eldest out of the three Mendoza triplets. She's a goddess of destruction and chaos, and while she does love her chaos, she's actually quite shy. She's sort of a gentle giant of sorts, as she is 7 feet tall. She's very protective of her sisters, but has quite a bit of insecurities. So Arista is the wielder of the hawk aesthetic, as she's strong-willed and follows where the wind blows. Again, no exact aesthetic, though I guess it is similar to Katharina's. Sort of seductive, I guess, but not a full-on evil person, even though actually Arista in story was, like, dubbed by the people as a goddess of evil, when she herself is not really evil, like, at all. So, like, for Arista, like, for a lot of these, I actually didn't have that many ideas, especially for Arista, so I just changed a lot of colors, lowered her cleavage, did a fun little asymmetry thing with her sleeves, and then called it a day, just for the time being. I just wanted to get something down on that canvas. I said that weird. Okay, next is Iris. She is a goddess. While her name may make you think of the Greek goddess of retribution and strife, she's actually the Roman goddess, Discordia. Don't ask, I thought of this storyline back in, like, middle school. I could change it, but I'm also weirdly attached, even though I'm, like, also just kind of, like, question mark at my old decisions. But this video is not about that. That's not about that. Moving on. So Iris is, like, best described as a wine aunt, though she does have many children, and she's not a full-on alcoholic, and she's very much single. It's the vibes. The vibes. Iris is the definition of cool. She may not have the best or the brightest past, but she's willing to help a friend in need when it matters most, and after many years, is finally not afraid to stand up for what she believes in, and for herself also. So Iris is also a hawk Aegis wielder. Now, once again, take a shot if I say a character doesn't exactly have an aesthetic. Iris just likes leggings, shorts, crop tops, and stuff, so I tried, like, a wing crop top, some fishnets, towel boots, super short shorts, and my favorite, these little tassely sleeveys. So, like, her OG design technically has her with a shawl, but I drew it so weirdly, and I, like, even after I realized it, I'm like, oh, people think these are sleeves. Well, I'm too lazy to change it, so it's just staying like that. Most people just think it's, like, weird sleeves, which is fair, so I ran with that to make into a new design. I also made her colors more brown and muted compared to Arisa. I drew more colors from the actual hawk compared to Arisa, who I just drew colors from, like, the hawk Aegis gem. Next, Satan. Satan is Lucifer's older brother. I know there's, like, weird conflation that happens with Satan and Lucifer, like, the names. So, like, when I made these two, I wanted them to be two separate people because I never saw them as the same person, like, ever. And I'm pretty sure in biblical lore, they're not the same people either, but they're conflated for some reason? Question mark? Anyway, Satan is very smart, introverted, and quiet, but he has a temper and he bottles up his emotions constantly. He also places heavy importance on protecting his family above all cost, which is a core element to the wolf Aegis wielders. So Satan actually has an aesthetic. Applause. Oh my god, I did it, guys. And his aesthetic is trad goth, but in the time this story takes place, he's not really a fan of makeup at the moment, and he doesn't like showing his arms nor his legs, which makes it very difficult to do like trad goth, because, like, a lot of the stuff I find usually shows arms or legs in some capacity. Honestly, thinking back, I probably should have looked up hijabi trad goth people, not designs. That probably would have saved me a lot of trouble. Anyway, what I actually did for the design, I really wanted to do tall boots, so I gave him shorts, a shirt meant to mimic the inner white part of a wolf, and a jacket. But since tall boots usually mean short skirts or shorts, though, so it doesn't look good. So Satan was one of the ones that will need a bunch of revisions. So will a lot of people, really. Next, Arsene. It is spelled Arsene. It's not Arsene, it's Arsene. Arsene is not the correct pronunciation, but I just prefer Arsene for whatever reason. So Arsene is Arista and Arya's sister. She is the middle sister. Second Mendoza daughter, child, sister. To insert whatever word that means the same thing, basically. Though her motherly temperament might make most of the mortals and everyone think that she's the oldest. Aside from being motherly, she's very kind, she's sweet, gentle, she adores mortals. Unfortunately, she has become very insecure of her eyes, as they not only have changed how she looks entirely, but they're both a reminder of her and her children's attempt against their lives. Yeah, in, like, the first few chapters of Kingdoms, like, these, like, people, like, burst into, like, the palace she was at, and they tried to, they like, hurt her and her kids, so, yeah. Yeah, and she's not blind. But anyways, yeah, she covers her eyes with the piece of fabric. You probably see that on screen right now, probably. But somehow she gets around like normal. There's an explanation for that, but it's kind of a secret. Anyway, Arsene has a strong moral compass and a sense of justice, and a strong sense of community with her sisters, fellow deities, her children, Satan, who's her ex-husband, but they're still friends. So for that, she is most fitting for the stag Aegis, the sentinel of harmony. Arsene doesn't have an aesthetic. Boo. But I know I wanted to channel the deity goddess aspect of her more, so I did a trailing dress, even if it's probably inconvenient for fighting, a big brown cape, and big huge antlers. It is kind of plain, but I really enjoy it still. It's very pretty. Oh, and also I did change, like, the cut of, like, the dress, so, like, it's more mimicking of the antlers. And also I did make the sleeves more like bells that cinch around the wrist. If there's a technical term for that, I don't know it. Is that it? Yes. Okay, sorry. Next up is Nico. Nico is the demon bodyguard to Satan and Arsene, though at this point in the story, he's essentially only Arsene's bodyguard, though he is still counted as Satan's bodyguard. There's a reason for that, but I don't know. It's nothing interesting though. So anyway, Nico is very smart, very shy and quiet. He loves books and learning, and he's also extremely grateful to Arsene and Satan because they're strong relationship between those three, platonically. Nico is fiercely out in the world to stay alive for Satan, Arsene, and his one and only daughter. Nico is the holder of the Raven Aegis for his value of the pursuit of knowledge. So in the time period I was thinking this would take place in, technically his aesthetic is just being comfortable, like hoodies, beanies, sweatpants. I mean, they can look good, but like I kind of forgot that this was meant to take place in book 1. So, even though, like, the reference I showed earlier seemed to say otherwise, because if you saw it flash on screen, he's in a suit. But yeah, in the future, he gets really into suits, and he grows out his hair. So maybe this is what lets him, like, discover his aesthetic, and also makes him realize, damn, I want to grow out my hair again. So anyway, high ponytail, suit, tall boots that look like raven claws, and a long black raven cape to mimic wings. And I don't think I drew on many markings in the drafts, if I remember correctly. I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at a script. But he's one of the ones that I'm like, man, I have zero idea what to do for the markings. We'll figure that out later, though. And our last draft is Takahiro. Takahiro is a man who can be charming, goofy, and flirty with Katharina, but he can also use his fears, whether justified or not, to do horrible things. So Takahiro is this thing called a shadow elemental, which basically means he can control shadows, but also he can transform into the shadows. He controls shadows, but also he is the shadows. Which sounds... Okay, the way I said it sounds kind of silly. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Anyway... So Takahiro is the Aegis wielder of the tiger, as he is fiercely after his goal, and unable to be convinced to not do it. What's the goal? Well, spoilers! Sorry, guys. Anyways, his aesthetic is also suits with lots of gold and jewelry, and a fedora as well. If you make, like, a neckbeard joke or whatever, I'm eating you. Yeah, that's right. That's a joke. I hope that was clear. But anyways, so I did this weird, like, side cape thingy. I've kind of seen it before. I don't know. I just wanted to do it. And, like, his shoes mimic tiger feet. He has bright red pants, a yellow belt, and a white shirt. And look, I think I drew it in this draft, but he has, like, a little tiger ear sticking out. And now that the drafts are done, let's get into the final drawing, which took me so much fucking time. 29 hours, guys. My normal art doesn't take me more than 2 hours usually. Even when I draw comics, I've drawn completely drawn 2 comic pages, working on a third. So far, they take me 7 hours at maximum. It's still kind of a lot for me, but, like, not as much as this stupid drawing. Oh my god. Okay. So, overall, I mean, I'd say I didn't change all that much. I still did some changes, though, so that's why I'm gonna explain them, instead of just being like, this is the final drawing! So for Katharina, not much change really. I just added patterning to the dress and a little bit more of the cat markings to her face. Plus, her cat tail was Plus, I made her cattail actually like the original Cat Sentinels. So, although I don't think in canon they don't have to, because like the Aegis, the cat, the wielder of the cat Aegis in Wildward, she has just black ears and tail. But I wanted, again, something to be unique, but also still like a cat Aegis wielder, I guess. For Milena, I originally wanted to keep her blonde, but it just wasn't working. That's a flaw of just doing the drafts with like the Wildward colors and not like actually pulling out the colors of my OCs as well. So blonde wasn't working, so I tried a dark blue instead, and I really fell in love with it. I also made her markings way more complicated, so she kind of looks like the Joker now. She's a villain now, I guess it works. I made her bow teal, and I gave her a corset with some snake-like scales. But yeah. No, never mind. Sorry. I was gonna talk about, like, the weird, like, fabric in the back, but that was already in the draft. So for Takahiro, almost nothing changed besides adding markings. That's it. So for Saiyan, he changed a lot, as he's one of the ones that really needed it. It's hard to make him trad goth, a style that needs blacks, maybe some grays, with a wolf that is mostly brown and white. So, anyway. So I gave him white hair since the black blended too much into his clothes. I made the mistake of giving him both horns and wolf ears like with Lucifer, but oops, it's too late now to fix that. I gave him a gray undershirt with flowy sleeves since it's on brand. He loves flowy sleeves. A brown corset over that, some brown pants, a left like skirt dress thingy, I guess. Simple shoes. He normally wears like big tall goth boots, but I don't know. If we're doing flowy pants, you kind of can't see that. But maybe you can just pretend that they're like big goth shoes. And I lost my place. So, yeah, more mistakes. Both the demon tail and the wolf tail, and also chains, because chains are, like, important for lore. Saiyan is also red because he's in angry demon mode, because demons in kingdoms, like, okay. Kingdoms lore real quick. So kingdoms, demons can have, like, natural skin, but, like, if they have, like, natural skin and demon skin, and by demon skin, I mean, like, a color that we wouldn't normally see, like someone who's bright blue. I don't think there's any bright blue people in this world. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, I guess. I keep losing my train of thought. This is not good. So yeah, demons, when feeling angry or other strong emotions, if they have like a natural skin color, so Saiyan's is like a brown. So like he normally has brown skin, but when he gets angry, he shifts to a red that's like a similar hue. Right? Anyway, that explanation was probably way too long. And also, he has wolf-like markings, but I decided it would be fitting to incorporate some trad goth elements that are inspired. I made his wolf markings like more trad gothy, I guess. And yeah, I like this, except the horns and the wolf ears. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, moving on. For Arista, a lot of changes as well. I decided to just shorten her hair, just give her a big ol' chop. Which I actually really fell in love. Like, she looks adorable with short hair. I love it. I just decided, I think asymmetry is, like, fun to do with designs, but it wasn't working on Arista, for whatever reason, so let's just do balloony sleeves for both of them. I made her dress, like, I gave her a high-up slit, and I also made the dress have some hawk patternings, which I really liked. Gave it some more detail so it's not so plain looking. Brown stockings and white flats. You can tell, I don't know why, but for this I was so was not super creative with the shoes this time around. Sorry guys. Oh, and her wings have detail, and she actually has a bird tail too. For Arya, I literally forgot her jewelry. I also changed her hair to be pigtails instead of a high ponytail because we have had a billion ponytail characters already. She still has like the snake like shoes. It's just the one leg. She's like, I put it up for whatever reason. Probably shouldn't have done that. The point is to show the design, not to hide it. But yeah, oh, and also, I didn't change many characters' eye colors, but I decided for Arya, it's like a asymmetry, like 2-color design. So let's give her heterochromia. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Heterochromia eyes. 1 pink, 1 green. So for Nico, so like I said, markings for a raven, which is just pure black, is really hard to do. So I just like made some feathery cheek shapes. I probably could have just drawn like a few feathers, honestly, thinking about it, but too late. And I just shifted around the colors from the draft. Nothing huge changed. I think I gave him, actually, I think in the final I did give him birdtail that I didn't in the draft. So for Arsene, I changed the bangs to like swoop, like there's like a middle part and then 2 parts that swoop up. Also gave her some markings, which I don't know if you can see. This was also hard to do markings for. And then I also patterned her dress to mimic the stag Aegis gem, which it looks so pretty now. It's so nice. For Iris, I gave her some makeup, I gave her tail. I put her hair like up so it's like bird-like. I don't know how to explain why it's like bird-like, but it's bird-like to me. It's just the vibes. And then shoes with like bird wing thingies, I guess. And lastly, Lucifer. He has more markings. I gave him some jewelry, although I forgot the bracelets. The problem is, like, when I draw like jewelry, it's like a layer over the line art. And when I work on super long drawings, I have a tendency to forget things. But anyways, he has like rings and gloves now, so I guess that makes up for it. Weird hip belt thingies, and a poor attempt at combining both horns and cat ears. Somehow, I think it works better. Also, his demon tail was painted white or something. One of the colors to look better. It looks a little better on him. And now, onto the code names I gave everyone. Just warning, they're not the best. I'm not great at making, like, superhero code names, to be honest. So, if they're all bad, don't be surprised. So for Katharina, I tried to translate cat into Irish because she is Irish, but it's literally the same thing. Like, cat in Irish is just cat. So I was thinking about how June did the names, like, back in the first, like, Prism characters as magical girls or other magical girl shows. So I was thinking about how, like, June made Zumi, like, be, like, Bijou or something like that. So I kind of inspired by that. I was like, Catherine is definitely a diamond gal. She literally has a diamond ring. So for whatever reason, I was compelled to translate diamond. Or actually, the reason was because Catherine likes diamonds. So I just translated diamond into Irish. And I made Katharina Diamant Cat. Sorry if the Irish pronunciation is not right. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So for Milena, like I mentioned earlier about her dad, she is Czech. Czechian. I think it's just Czech. So I just translated snake into Czech, which is spelled like had, but pronounced more like hat. I didn't just want to roll with that. It would sound so stupid. So I altered it and made it more like, and I made it Hadena. Kind of like how Callimara turned to Ular, which is like snake in Indonesian. I don't know if it's a specific Indonesian language. And just made Ular into Ulara. For Takahiro, he's Japanese. You probably didn't need me saying that, but So I translated tiger and I got Tora. Probably could have played around with it more, like maybe make it sound more like a name, like adding more like syllables, but Tora alone works well enough, I think. So for Satan, unlike the rest of these guys, he does not have any confirmed race. I never created him with one in mind, though. Quick story time. He's just the father of an old friend's OC who was randomly like, here, you can have this OC. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And, like, I think, like, when I first got the Satan's son OC, I immediately, like, made him look more like the old friend who is Italian. So, if we're going based off of that, I feel like Italian. I guess that means they're Italian, but nothing. Okay, long story short, no confirmed race. I don't want to assign something. So, Saiyan is a guy where you could be like, oh, he's this race in my mind, and I'll be like, yeah, sure. I encourage that. I encourage it. Yeah, that's the same thing twice. But anyways, Saiyan and also demons speak in a language that don't exist in real life. It's called demon tongue. It kind of functions like you know how in English we have the alphabet. For every letter in the alphabet, I made up a new sound and ascribed it to a letter in the alphabet. And then, like, when you want to, like, say something, you just, like, say, like, cat. You just look for, like, the demon tongue sounds for C, A, and T, put them together, and then that. Except also, actually, it's like that, but done with Latin words, if it makes sense. So, yeah, in lore, demon tongue is supposed to be very similar to Latin. So, tried translating wolf, but it has no translation. But black does have a translation, which is Ater. So I just slapped the two words together and made Aterwolf. Aterwolf. It looks cool, even if I can't pronounce it. So for Arista, she and all her sisters canonically speak Latin. So I looked into what a hawk is in Latin, which is a accipiter. I was not vibing with that one, so I tried looking into names associated with hawk. Might have been something I could have done in the first place for everyone, but whatever. So after looking at a few things, I stumbled upon the name Aquila. It's actually associated with eagles, but since in my mind they're so similar, I don't know the difference. I was like, let's just use Aquila, fuck it. For Arya, it was easy. There's quite a few snake-related names I can think of just off the top of my head, really. But I decided to use Viper. It just felt right. I don't have a rhyme or reason for that. It just felt like Arya would choose that. So for Nico, back to translating. So Nico is canonically the demonic equivalent of German on his mother's side, and the demonic equivalent of being Afro-Greek on his father's side. So I tested out Raven for both. Rabe, which is Raven in German, I didn't like as a hero name, but Koraki I did, and I feel like I'm pronouncing that more with, like, Japanese sounds than in Greek. But it's spelled K-O-R-A with an accent, K-I. If anyone's Greek, feel free to tell me how to actually pronounce that. For Arsene, more translating. Sag in Latin with service. I just altered it so it'd be like Serva instead, but now it sounds a bit like cervix. But considering Arsene is so maternal, and she had like 10 kids, canonically, yes, it's a long story. I guess it makes sense. For years, she's Roman, technically Italian in modern day, but she's considered Roman. So, but since I already translated hawk into Latin, yeah, I wasn't thrilled with accipiter, So I just cut off the beginning and made it Sipter. Still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And lastly, for Lucifer, I started off with Phallus, Latin for cat, and tried looking some words that pertain to him. And I decided on Volutionary. It's a combination of Phallus and Revolutionary. Not sure if I enjoy it, but And then, for the rest of this video, I'm going to explain the little AU I made for this. So you can just watch the rest of the speed paint roll. So the current idea for this is that it'll be like the original plot of Kingdoms Book 1, but now Wildward stuff is added onto it as well, because I didn't really have any ideas for a completely original thing anyway, to be honest. So all this stuff happens as it does in Book 1, at least maybe all the other books. Definitely Book 1 though. But then also, Takahiro learns about the Tiger Aegis, the Aegis of Power, and he thinks, this will be good for conquering other kingdoms, then Ayazuma, then more planets. You get the idea. So Takahiro goes to Earth, steals it from whoever owned it previously, and takes it to Ayazuma and uses it to further his goals. Satan and the others learn about this and panic, so they try to steal his Aegis. So he can't use it, but they also learn of other Aegises, so they decide they want to make sure all the other Aegises are in good hands. So they track them down. Some are with owners that are sorta done with the Aegises, and others that have died recently. So basically, they all acquire some of the other Aegises as well, but not all of them. Meanwhile, Takahiro and his others also, I neglected to mention this, but Takahiro is a villain. He works with Katharina and Malena. Satan, Lucifer, Nico, Arista, Arya, and Arsene are on Satan's side. They're the good guys. Okay. That's out of the way. So Takahiro and his people are stealing all the other Aegises that they can get their hands on. So Malena, Katharina, or even other high-ranking people within their circles can use them for conquering purposes. Originally, Satan and his side try to hide the Aegises in some unexpected place in the Hell Sector. Also, side note, the afterlife in Kingdoms is like it's like one huge kingdom, and then there's two sectors, the Hell Sector and the Heaven Sector. But unfortunately, that turns out horribly. Takahiro and co find the Aegises. So Satan and his side are terrified, so they end up stealing them back, but unfortunately they are only able to get some of them. And as it turns out, Malena and Katharina have also gotten their own Aegises, the snake and cat Aegises respectively. Up until now, while Takahiro, Malena, and Katharina have actually used the Aegises and transformed and all that, Satan and the others have not with the ones they have used. Though some have bonded with the Sentinels. I kind of forget how, I kind of don't exactly remember how all that works. Anyway, eventually they decide, reluctantly, that they will use the Aegises and transform. It's more of them holding on to the Aegises while finding a better solution to keep them contained than fighting and transforming. They do that when necessary, but they prefer to just hold on to them because they know if it's with them, they should be kept safe, right? So eventually, Satan and his group steal the cat and snake Aegises, and they have practically all the Aegises except Tiger. So Katharina and Malena steal them back, and then it just becomes a back and forth of stealing Aegises from each other constantly, except Takahiro is always the one with the Tiger Aegis, as somehow he's really good at holding on to it, for unexplained reasons, mostly for plot reasons. So, while Takahiro is trying to conquer Ayazuma, which I also did not mention, that's the planet Satan and the others currently live on. It's not where he was born. He was kind of sent there because he did a fucked up thing in his youth. Spoilers. So basically, while Takahiro is conquering the world of Ayazuma, and Satan's working with this resistance to stop that. In addition to that, Satan and his group have to also figure out a way to steal these Aegises for good, because they give them way more trouble than help. And yeah, I don't have any endings in mind. Like, maybe a little bit, but if I do, even if I did slash do, I can't really say much more because A, Kingdom spoilers, and B, it's just an AU. I don't really want to write a whole in-depth story with build-up and everything about it, so, if anyone wants to write, like, make this more of a story rather than just being like, this happens, that happens, blah, 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 you can, like, make fanfics or, like, just, I don't know, do stuff. Think of what else could happen, okay? And finally, this recording is now done. Hopefully, editing and all that will be a breeze. But yeah, that is Kingdoms characters as Wildward Aegis holders. We're done. After this video, I'm gonna take a little break from this because, as I said, 10 characters took me 29 hours. So, taking a little break from drawing big, huge lineups to do other videos that I've been working on, finish those up before starting another big, huge drawing. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I think that's about it for now. So check out my Patreon, check out all my socials, read Kingdoms and Keiko Kuromiya, and yeah, maybe check out my other videos too, and subscribe maybe. I know you want to hit that subscribe button. Come on, you want to do it, right? Anyway, I think that's about it for now. I have been recording for so fucking long. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!